What's up, everybody? Adam Arce with LowKickMMA, joined today by Bellator lightweight contender Nick Newell, who has a fight coming up on June 11th versus Bobby King. Nick, how we doing today, bro?
Good. I'm great. I killed it this morning. I am ready to go back to the gym tonight to do my second session, and I'm just banging out these interviews.
Sick, bro. So tell me, is your first session strength and conditioning and the second is skill, vice versa? How does that work?
So it depends. It really depends on the day, and what's going on, and I move some things around. This morning it was cardio. So I hit the treadmill, I hit the bike, I did stuff like that, and sometimes I'll do a little skill martial arts after that. Today I kind of skipped it because I had a few things to get done, but I'm good. Tonight I'm gonna go in and do a little grappling, more technique work, and a little striking work.
Cool, man. You know, before the interview, I was on your Instagram. I saw that you posted some things related to Nintendo 64 and Mario Kart. So tell me, are you a retro gamer? And if so, what are some of your favorite games from back in the day?
I am. I mean, since having kids, I haven't had as much time to play video games, especially with 2-year-olds and such. They're always running around, and between fighting and all my other responsibilities I have in my life, I don't have much time to play. I love Nintendo 64 though. Me and my friends grew up on it and used to play it all the time in middle school, high school, and it's the best. And when I have like a guys' night, we usually don't go out and drink or get drunk or anything like that. We're a little older, so we play Nintendo 64 and we have a good time. So I have about 80 games for it. I've been collecting them over the past couple decades.
That's good, man. Do you have one go-to game? Is Mario Kart that game?
Mario Kart is great. I love Mario Kart. Obviously, Smash Bros is great. GoldenEye, the staples, and then in WrestleMania 2000, we customized all the characters to be people that we know. So yeah. we kind of laugh when they have a Royal Rumble and they come out randomly. So yeah. We're me and my friends have like a little thing going with that, we get together like maybe only like once or twice a year, but we have a 64 night.
That's sick. So you created the wrestlers inside the game, similar to how you create a fighter in like UFC 4 or something like that?
Yeah, it's the same, but it's all people we know, yeah. And our friends like dads and stuff.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like current wrestlers that maybe not in the game.
No. It's all like it's funny. It's like people that we know.
Cool, man. So I want to ask you a couple of questions about your fight on June 11th with Bobby King. When you step into the cage on June 11th, as you know, it'll be almost 2 years since the last time you fought. I've heard you say in your other interviews that it's this time in between fights where you have a chance to expand your arsenal, experiment with new techniques. Is that correct? And if so, have you experimented with any new techniques lately?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I've done my work, and I'm always expanding and growing, and I have my same coach that's been around me since the start, Jeremy Levashevsky, and he's taught me how to fight and everything. He knows me forward and backwards. And in addition, I've added in some new people. I have Coach Roger Denton's been doing it a long time. My boxing coach Scott Labrie I've had for a long time. I have a Muay Thai guy that's fought in Glory and Lion Fight, very good. I've been working with. And jiu-jitsu, I've been going to see JT Torres a lot and training with him. So he's the best guy in the world, 2-time Abu Dhabi champion in my weight class. So it's been great getting that work in. And I went down, trained with the guys at Team Tiger Schulman's a few times as well. They were very welcoming and helpful. So I feel very confident in this fight. I feel very prepared, and I feel like I did everything I need to do to be ready, including my new conditioning program through the Conquer Athlete program has been amazing. It's been amazing, and I feel fantastic.
So tell us a bit about that new conditioning program. You mentioned it's through Conquer Athletes. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, it's an online program that anyone can sign up for. It's called Conquer Athlete, and it happens to be like right next to my gym. So we share a wall with the facility. So I kind of had a fight where I kind of blew my wad. I don't know if I overtrained on, or did something like that, and I kind of ran out of steam. So I kind of recalculated my whole conditioning program based on that, and I just found out that one of the best guys in the world at it is in my town and literally right next door to me. So I added that to my arsenal, and I feel fantastic. Conditioning is through the roof.
That's sick, bro. Tell us one of the differences between training in this highly scientific method that you say you're training now and the past. What's a main difference? Are they
Uh,
you wear one of those heart rate monitors or HRV? I forget what they call it, but
yeah. There's a heart rate monitor. It's all calculated. The coach Jason had the #2 CrossFit team in the world one year, and I think that in terms of muscular endurance, that's a fantastic sport. They have the best muscular endurance, and when you fight, you need muscular endurance and endurance. And I was just winging it before. I'd go for a run, and I'd like sprint, and I would redline all the time, and I would overtrain and run my body into the ground, and it's hard to recover from that. So everything is like based off how I feel, based off my heart rate, based off like people who know. I don't know. I know how to fight. I know how to do this. I know a lot of things, and I leave certain things out so I don't have to worry about them.
that's great, man. Rule number one in business, sometimes you got to know what to outsource, right? And it's great to see that you realize that you needed to outsource your conditioning. And I hope it works well for you.
Thank you.
So one of the things I wanted to touch on was back in March of 2020, when the pandemic first started, you were scheduled to fight Zach Zane at Bellator 241. Now, a lot of people watching may not know this, but when that card fell through, Bellator paid their full card of fighters their entire fight pay. If my math is correct, around that same time was the time that Brady was being born. So I'm sure that paycheck came in handy. When you saw how Bellator treated their fighters, did it make it less likely that you would ever leave their organization in the future?
Uh, I I've made it known since my Bellator debut. After my Bellator debut, I had such a fantastic time working with Bellator and working for them that my fight career will end in Bellator. So this is it for me. I'm Bellator for life. There's nowhere else that I want to go. This is where I want to be, and they took care of me. And we needed a minivan, so the fight the fight purse went to the minivan fund, and we ended up getting one. So
Hey,
it's
every
cool.
parent of two needs a minivan, right?
Yeah, well, not everyone. I mean, I guess some people try to be cool, but my wife doesn't care about that. She wants to be functional.
That's sick, bro. Good to hear. So I heard that last answer loud and clear, but I got to ask you, man, one of your most high profile fights was against Justin Gaethje, and obviously he's had a ton of success in the UFC. Do you ever still dream about running that back with him, or is it just water under the bridge at this point?
I never had anything personal against him. He's been nothing but great before and after. Things happen in this sport. Obviously, if you asked me to fight him again, I would do it. I wasn't scared the first time. Why would I be scared now, right? He's had a great career. He's a great fighter, but I'm in Bellator and I have my goals in Bellator. So
Absolutely.
that's where my vision lies right now.
Sounds like a good mindset. So I want to switch gears a little bit. When I was researching for this interview, one of the really inspirational things that I read was about your first day, or I should say, your experience wrestling as you were a kid. Um, when you were talking about that first day, one of the quotes was, "It was so hard. I was crying because everybody beat me up. I thought I was going to do better than what I did." Can you take us back to that first day as a young kid wrestling? Do any experiences, any stories come to your mind when you think of that day?
Yeah, well, I was used to like wrestle with my friends. I wrestle around with my friends, and they are good people, but they're not that, they never ended up wrestling because they weren't wrestlers. It's something you have inside you, you know, and they're very great, all successful, awesome people at what they do. And it was like kind of competitive, you know, because none of us knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
So I ended up starting wrestling, and everyone had been training, and like they went for a run. I think it was like a 2 mile run before the season, and I threw up. And I was like, what is going on? I was like eating candy and drinking soda, and they were like, you can't do that. And I was like, oh, no one ever told me that. Like, you know, like I knew nothing about nutrition, nothing about hard work. I'd played sports, but like when you're a kid and you play sports, it's not really the same. Like you don't know. Like kids today might know better than I knew when I was growing up, but it was different. I was like the first athlete in my family, really. No one else in my family really played sports. My dad wrestled for a year, but he was like kind of like a troublemaker, you know. So he
What
ended up
made him stop
quitting
after a
or
year?
not doing what?
What made him
He was
stop?
into like riding. He was riding like motorcycles and doing stuff like that, and like
Okay.
trying to be cool.
He had better stuff to do.
So, yeah, he was a cool guy. So I wasn't a cool guy. I was a wrestler. And it was so hard my first day, you know, I was crying, and it was tough. But my family, they helped me, they motivate me, you know, motivate me to stay with it and not quit. And I stuck with it, and I ended up, you know, I think I won like over 150 matches, or 100. I won 100 and like 25 matches in high school. And that was after I went. I only won 2 real matches. I got 6 forfeits my freshman year, and I stuck with it. I wrestled all the way through college. I was a captain. I won matches in 6 different weight classes, and I ended up becoming a pro fighter. So I mean, I'm glad I stuck with it.
Yeah, man. That point actually brings me to the most inspirational part, at least in my opinion. And tell me if I have this information correct. From what I read, in your first season wrestling, I didn't say what age you were, but it said you went 0-17, came back that next season, and then went undefeated. Is that true? And if it is, what changed?
No, it's not true. It's not true,
Okay.
but it's close. So I lost my first 17 matches, and I finished the season uh 2-22, eight. I think 8-22 if you count 6 forfeits I got because I was a 103 pounder. But for real, my first 17 matches, I lost all of them, and it was tough. My next year, I came back, and I think I don't know why I remember this. I think I went 24-12, and I placed in my conference, and I won matches at states. So it was like a big deal for me, a big turnaround. And the reason I did that is I had a friend who's since passed. His name was Pete Benzavanga, and he encouraged me to train in the off season. And he like was real tough on me. He's like, Nick, listen, everyone's kicking your ass, and they're looking at you as an easy match, and they're taking it as like a joke. He's like, you're not a joke. You got to train all year round so you can beat these guys. And he was right. So I got motivated, and like I was like doing track. He's like, don't do track. That's stupid. Wrestle all year round. You need to get better. And I was like, okay. So I dedicated to wrestling. I joined Atlas Club with Coach Andy Saris, who was an Olympian, and he was my coach for the club team. And I ended up, you know, I never had a losing season after that, and I ended up going all state.
That's great to hear, man. Rest in peace to your friend Pete. Good thing that he kept it real with you. It seems to have yielded some good results. One of the things I wanted to ask you about from your childhood, hopefully I got this one right, is that growing up, Jim Abbott was a big inspiration for you. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was a huge inspiration. I mean, the internet isn't well, it wasn't a thing like it is now. So I didn't have anyone in my town that had one hand or know anyone that had one hand. It was just Jim Abbott. That was it. That was the only person. So to see him out there doing great things kind of showed me like, why can't I do this? Why can't I be this person? You know, and taught me to not really doubt myself. Obviously, I'm not a perfect person. I've had moments of doubt and moments where I look down. I don't believe in myself, but I suck it up, and I think about all the great things that people have done. And it all started with Jim Abbott for me. And I'm glad that as I got older, I got to strike up a little bit of a friendship with him. It's not like we talk on holidays or anything like that, but we've been in contact, and it's been a great thing.
That's awesome, man. Do you know if Jim's going to be watching your upcoming fight? Have you talked to him recently?
No, but he always has like a nice little tweet.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you remember the first time you saw him on TV? Have you ever met him in person?
I was so young. I was so young when I first saw him, so I can't remember the exact. I remember both times I met him. My grandparents took me to a Yankee fan day, and then I went to a Yankee game, and he came out from the dugout and kind of talked with me a little bit. And then after one of my fights for WSOF, we met up and had lunch, and we did a little interview that's online. So I got to meet with him and hang out with him, and it was very cool. It was a very good experience for me.
Right. When you met him as a kid, did you have aspirations of becoming an athlete yet? Did he talk to you about why you could do it, or were you too young at that point?
I was young, but I don't know if I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a champion or anything like that. I played soccer because it was fun and my friends played, and then I started playing baseball because of him, and I wanted to be a pitcher because of him, but I kind of sucked at throwing the ball. So I was a really good infielder, so I ended up playing the infield. I similar story. I think I only got 2 hits my first year, and then every year after that, I made the travel team or the all-star team. So I was good. I hit a couple, a lot of base hits,
Yeah.
2 in the park home runs, same with triples, and a few doubles mixed in there. But I was good at grabbing and throwing, and a good baseball player, and I did that because of Jim. But at the end of the day, it wasn't where my heart was. It was just something I was doing for fun when I was a kid.
Right. You've mentioned this theme of kind of you starting out with a sport, maybe not being the best at first, and then you rebound and become pretty darn good at it. Tell me about when you first started fighting. If memory serves me correct, you didn't lose your first couple fights, right? It took a while to get that first loss. So tell me about your experiences in your first fights. Did that same thing happen?
Yes and no. See, the thing is that I actually lost my amateur debut.
Okay.
So I fought at 170. I don't know why, but it was like the only fight available. So I took a fight at 170, and it was a tough fight. And I was versus a very, very good grappler, and I got taken down and controlled, and it was frustrating. But I was like, ah, man, this can't be my only fight experience. So I went and I said, I need some tough fights, and I fought 2 very tough amateurs, and I won both those. And I decided to go pro because when I was fighting, there was no athletic commission. It was just like Wild Wild West out in Massachusetts. So I was like, I need to go pro before they come in and they tell me like, oh, you can only fight amateur because you have one hand. So for me, it was important that I did that. So I started and I won my first 11 pro fights.
In the beginning of your career, both as an amateur and as a pro, did you find it difficult to get fights either because maybe the commission was worried you might get hurt, or maybe the other fighter was worried that they might lose to somebody with one arm and take a hit to their rep? Did you ever experience that?
Yeah, I had both. I mean, I had commission say I need to prove a little bit more. They since came around, but and I've had people turn down fights.
Yeah.
That's a part of the game, I mean, it is what it is. I'm over it.
Cool, man. So, as you were growing up and or I should say early in your fight career, when you're trying to develop your style, I think most fighters, most athletes, they grow up watching other people and then they kind of learn from them and take little bits of each style. Being that you're in a unique situation, were you able to learn from other fighters, or did you have to create your style from the bottom up?
I mean, there were guys before me. If you look at Jean-Jacques Machado for grappling, and Baxter Humby was a kickboxer, very famous world champion fighter in the kickboxing and Muay Thai world. And those guys kind of inspired me a little bit. So I took some things from them, but at the end of the day, you're your own person and you have to kind of figure things out for yourself. So I was able to kind of craft my own game over the years.
Yeah. Is there one move that sticks out that you took from one of those two fighters that you just mentioned?
Nothing specific. I mean, each person's their own man, so it's just showing me that I could do it more than anything, and kind of figuring out from there.
Yeah, we got time for one more, Adam.
Cool. I have two more here. Is that cool? They're super quick.
Yeah, if they're quick, we just got to move on to the next one. But
Absolutely. I appreciate your time. So do you have any dream fights before your career is over?
In terms of dream fights, I'm just trying to work my way up the ladder and just take it one fight at a time right now. There's no one specific that's really calling my name, especially because there's really no champion at 155. It's the 45-pound champ, and he's an absolute animal. But I think he's gonna handle his business at 45. So we'll just have to see how things go.
Absolutely, man. So last question. As I'm sure you've heard in the past weeks, the two biggest pieces of news in the MMA stratosphere is Josh Fabia breaking up with Diego Sanchez and Jake Paul signing to fight Tyron Woodley. So it begs the question, if you could choose one person to get knocked out, either Josh Fabia or Jake Paul, who would you choose?
I guess Fabia, because he manipulated Diego and kind of used him and did some really weird stuff. He's kind of goofy guy and kind of took advantage of him. Jake Paul is just, unlikable for a lot of people, but at least he's not like screwing anyone over. He's doing a lot of immature, stupid stuff, but he's also making money and getting everyone to talk about him. So it's it is what it is over there. I mean, people say they all hate him. Why is he so popular? And then they talk about him nonstop.
Yeah, man, I agree with everything you just said right there. I appreciate your time today, Nick. Is there anything you want to say to your fans, the viewers, before I let you go?
Just tune in and watch me fight June 11th versus Bobby King at Bellator, and I can't wait to put on a show.
Thanks, Nick. I'll be watching. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.